We're going to be talking about working from home being the new normal, because, you know, as we said before, all the way along the line in the Facebook, LinkedIn posts, what if this is the new normal? And, you know, there are a lot of people now starting to come around to the fact that this is more of a new normal than we'd probably like, or that we realised that was slowly happening. We have conducted our own study as a group of 3, and those studies revealed that things like lethargy and pain were on the increase. Those are two of the key factors that were facing people that work from home, is that they are experiencing more sort of lethargy, I can't be bothered, those kinds of things, and pain. The pain can tend to be from chairs, sat at a desk for too long, not getting up and moving around so much. The other study we looked at was an Australian study that found that successful employees helped a successful employee, the health requirement was much better when the employer was provided a strong management support, when they were able to have visible commitment to their employees' well-being and their health, and also when the employee was able to be part of designing their own well-being program, if you like. So when they were more engaged in their intervention, the design of their personal intervention, then that actually proved a really strong package of health and helped the employees hugely, which again helps the business in a multitude of ways. So the other things that we've experienced or noticed as well is that there is more anxiety, worry and stress, which I think probably all of us would probably know, because probably many of us have experienced any one of those things, if not all of them, one after the other or all at the same time at some point since March. There has been more loneliness and isolation because we are not in the office. We are insular often in our homes on our dining table, so we are not getting the same social interactions that we were getting before. There are more distractions because we work from home too, and that can be difficult to deal with as well. It also brings up new health issues. There are more health issues that are starting to creep in because we are working from home so much, and we are again not getting that social interaction. That again is bringing in the lethargy, the pain, is bringing in more tiredness, again more lethargy as we carry on working from home, again because we are not necessarily physically moving around so much or going out. The work-life balance and the boundaries are also beginning to blur in a lot of cases. Not every case, but a lot of cases it's beginning to blur. Again, that brings in more health issues, and that becomes a whole vicious cycle. Less sleep, less exercise, poor nutrition, and all those kinds of things. So what does connect mean for you? What do the 3 of us as connect mean for you? Well, we can help with physical health. David helps people so that employees can have more energy, be more productive, so they can drive the business forward to achieve its goals. Or if you are the business owner, it can help you in all of those ways. There's the mental and emotional resilience that I help people with, so that you feel more supported and employees feel more supported, safe and happy, which means that they can express their creativity and spot new opportunities as the company evolves. And if it's you in your business, then again, that can work exactly the same for you to help you with that creative side. Nick works with self-esteem and confidence, helping people to overcome those challenges, because right now we have got a lot of challenges, and how to adapt to the new world, the new way of thinking, the new way of getting that competitive edge as we continue to work from home. So I'm going to introduce you now to Nick Forgem, who is going to talk to you about self-esteem and confidence. Over to you, Nick.
Yeah, hello everyone. So many years ago now I got my black belt. It's not about the black belt physically, I think it's more about the mindset. So my book is called Black Belt Thinking, and I want to share with you today 3 things that I think are very relevant to these issues of stress, health, lethargy and pain, and working from home. And the first one I'd like to start with is what's called circle of life. So you might have heard of Bruce Lee, a very famous martial artist and film actor, And when he was doing self-defense, he talked about this thing about the circle of life, and it's a circle that's sort of about around here. It's about that far away from you. And he said, if someone comes in my circle, then from a self-defense point of view, I want to know if they're going to kiss me or kill me. So that's a whole raft of things to cover in terms of self-defense. But I think actually the main things that we let into our circle are actually what comes into our heads. It's our thoughts and our beliefs, because they drive our actions and our behavior, and that drives our results. So in this sort of new environment that we've got, the new normal, we're working from home. And one of the big problems is that we let things in because of these things. Social media, I mean, I know we're on it now, but we're not open to everything in terms of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and everything else. But it's like it's coming straight through our circle and straight into our brain. And if nothing else, just by being aware of that, perhaps limiting our exposure to these external forces that we don't have control over, then we can probably help improve our health and well-being. So when we take responsibility for what's in our circle and we forget the stuff that's out of it, we can generally be happier, healthier, and more productive. I was speaking with a director of a social media company last week. She'd done the program, and she said the biggest single thing she got from the 2 hours of content was this whole concept of circle of life. One of the ways in which you might have come across this before, it's called locus of control. So you either have a high locus of control, where you take responsibility for what's in your life, or you have a low locus of control. In other words, the control is external, it's outside the circle of life. And when things go badly, what that means is that we don't have the opportunity to learn, because, oh, it was bad luck, oh, she did that, oh, he said that, and all that sort of thing. Equally, when things go well, we don't congratulate ourselves, we don't analyze what went well, because, oh, that was just a bit of good luck, or that's just like the heavens moved and everything else. The opposite of that is when we have a high locus of control and we're taking responsibility for what's in our circle. So if something goes wrong, we can say, well, what was my part that I played in that? We're not judging ourselves, we're just giving ourselves the opportunity to learn and develop and not create those mistakes in the future. And equally, when things go well, if we've got a high locus of control, we can actually give ourselves that nice pat on the back, we can reward ourselves, and we can again analyze it and say, well, you know, what can I do that's then going to help me be even more successful in the future? So locus of control is the first thing. The second thing is humility. The founder of karate said that the ultimate aim of karate is humility. And for me, C.S. Lewis said it best. He said, humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. And when we have humility, we're in this really nice zone for our self-esteem, our self-worth, our self-confidence. Because if we go too far up, I'm not going to say we get Trump, but you know what I mean, okay? If we go off the scale and we're up here with the ego, then it's not a good place to be. Similarly, if we're down here and our self-worth and self-belief is really low, that's not good either. And one of the phrases, and it's being talked about quite a bit at the moment with all the stuff about working from home, is we can enter a state of learned helplessness. So the trick, if you like, is to keep our self-esteem in the middle, where we have some humility. And a couple of ways to do that. First of all, one of the things to do is to ask for help. Now that might seem a bit counterintuitive, but when we ask for help, it's really interesting, because quite often people don't ask for help, and one of the, if not the biggest single reason people don't ask for help is because they don't believe they're worthy of being helped. So when we ask for help, we're almost shifting the scale and say, well, I am worthy of coming to so-and-so and asking for this, or asking for a favor, or asking for some guidance or some ideas or some suggestions, whatever it might be. So actually asking for help, not relying for help, that's completely different. But just from time to time, asking for help is a really positive, empowering thing to do that helps us be humble and actually maintains our self-esteem. And the other thing we can do is we can thank other people. It shows that we're thinking of people outside of our circle of life. We're actually thinking of things outside of ourself. And it's a really good way to actually have this middle ground of humility, where we have this self-belief, this self-confidence, this feeling of self-worth. And I'd like to finish off with something very practical now on strengths. This is the third thing. there was a very famous British karate fighter who, for his height, was actually quite small. And what that means is it's very difficult to kick up here. I'm not even going to do it. So what he had was, he realized he just had very fast arms. And in all his fights, and he went on to become a world champion, he never threw a kick. But what he did, he just practiced and he practiced and he practiced the natural strength that he had. And that's something that we can all do. We've all got strengths. So here's 3 ways to recognize a strength. One of the best ways, I think, is that someone says something about you. Oh, Jane, you're really good at that. And you think, am I? So that's the first way. Secondly, you might have won an award for something. That indicates there's a strength. And thirdly, if you're doing something and you're in the zone, time flies. It's like, oh, this is like, whoa, where did that go? That indicates that you're really in the zone, that you're doing something natural to you. So there's my 3 things, circle of life, humility, and strengths. And now I'm going to pass over to David, who's going to take us through some more physical stuff. So David, over to you.
Thanks, Nick. For those who don't know me, my name is David from Power of One Fitness, and I help people become fitter, leaner, stronger, and healthier in this time of working from home and change routines. And people are struggling with their fitness and exercise. Perhaps they're struggling without the equipment that they're used to, or just struggling to fit everything into work life, home life, kids, everything's crammed in. So as Helen said, there was a study of business owners that we conducted, and the 2 big issues that came out of that study were lethargy and pain. And these can be remedied with some pretty simple steps. So what can you do right now? If you've got any soreness, what can you do to relieve that soreness? It might be tempting to pop an ibuprofen or 2 to relieve that discomfort, but the body responds really well to stretching and movement. And studies have found that done daily, movement is more effective than over-the-counter medication at easing pain. And a simple movement I use with most of my clients is what we call a cross crawl. And I'm going to demonstrate it here. It can be done sitting down or standing. I'm going to demonstrate standing. And it basically involves taking an elbow and going across to the opposite knee, or getting as close to it as you can. And what we're doing here is we're working around hips and also muscles across the slings across the body from shoulder to hip and vice versa. And if you do about maybe 5 to 10 on each leg, then you should start to feel more limber and less stiff, and hopefully start to relieve any pain that you might be feeling in your lower back, up into your shoulders and neck. But if you are still struggling with shoulder and neck pain, a really simple stretch can alleviate this. So what you do is you look straight ahead and try and put your right ear down onto your right shoulder while keeping that left arm as straight to your body as you can, and hold it. Oh, I can feel that. Hold it for maybe 20 to 60 seconds. I'm not going to do that, hold it for that length of time, because we haven't got time today, but then repeat it on the other side, and maybe do 4 on each side. And that's really, really good at relieving off the tension in your neck and also shoulders. So hopefully, by doing that, you'll have released any tension in the upper body. But what we do have from sitting in a bent position for any length of time is our hip flexors get tight. What are our hip flexors? Group of muscles situated on the front of your hips. And that can also create lower back pain, because our hips are then being tilted in a way that they're not necessarily designed to be tilted. So what can we do to relieve that? Well, simple little thing. I'm going to move back here so you can see me. Go down on one knee as if you're about to propose to somebody. I'm not. But if you do, go down one knee, just push it, tuck your bum under, push your hips forward, and hopefully you should feel a nice stretch at the top of that front, the knee that's down, and also all the way up to your hip there. If you can't feel it, not a problem, just take that foot forward a little bit further, and again, just push hips forward. Hold it for maybe 30 to 60 seconds on one side, turn it around, and repeat on the other side. So hopefully after performing those exercises, your body will thank you, and you'll feel freer and have more energy and be to move and be productive. And talking of moving, the first thing on that list of issues suffered by business owners was lethargy. And while it might be counterintuitive, the simple act of moving will give you more energy. So how about doing what I do? I schedule movement breaks into my daily routine. I set a little alarm for each and every hour during my working day. It prompts me to get up and move about. And a very simple movement you can do is walking. It's so effective, and even a minute of walking up and down stairs has been shown to have the same energizing effect on the brain as drinking a cup of espresso. How cool is that? But if you've got limited space or no stairs, not a problem. What you can do is you can do some squats. Now, squats are a great exercise because they work around the hips and also multiple joints. And what you do is you just plant your feet about shoulder width apart and move your hips back and down as far as you can go while trying to keep your knees as still as possible. And then come back up. Now, if you're doing squats, what you can maybe challenge yourself, because it can be boring just doing squats, challenge yourself and try and get up out of a chair without using your hands. Or, slightly more difficult, lower yourself back down into a chair without flopping it in, so it's all under control. Now, people who know me know that I say exercise is medicine. I say it often. And it produces a lot, exercise produces a lot of changes in the body, physical and mental, even after a relatively short period of time. Now, physical activity can improve mood and cognitive function and helps reduce the effects of aging on the brain, as well as having a profoundly positive impact on depression, anxiety, ADHD, and so much more. But even in a day-to-day setting, it relieves stress, improves memory, helps you sleep better, it boosts your overall mood. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to be a fitness fanatic to reap those benefits. You do what you can, when you can, and you'll start to see and more importantly, feel the benefits on and in your body and brain. Diminishing pain, making you feel more energized. And that's really powerful stuff. The link between body and brain is undeniable. And to paraphrase Monty Python, apart from bridges, roads, education, and lots of other things, what did the Romans ever do for us? Well, they gave us that great saying, mens sana in corpore sano, a healthy mind and a healthy body. It's as simple as that. I'm David Williams from Power of One Fitness, and I help people be the best they can be, physically and mentally. And now I'm going to hand over to Helen, who's going to talk about boundaries and habits that can help you alleviate lethargy and pain.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Helen Broward, and I teach people to think differently and feel better using the power of their imagination. So I'm going to take you a whistle-stop tour of your imagination today. I want you to just imagine, if you will, that you have no boundaries. Work and home have blended in together, and there's not really a finish or an end or a start to one or the other. It just seems to be sort of constant. That is quite easy now that we're working from home, because we are not physically taking ourselves out more often than not out of the workplace and then that journey home. So just imagine that that's your day. You're slipping in and out of work and home. You have no focus, or you have little focus. You've noticed it's distracting. So you'll find that the emails coming in distract you. Oh, well, I'll just pop in and have a look at that email. Oh, yeah, I'll just answer that. Oh, somebody's just come to the door. It's a delivery. Somebody's just popped in for a cup of tea, maybe. I know that's a bit hard now, but sometimes it happens. Oh, you've heard a noise. Oh, there's somebody else. So distractions are pulling you away from what you really want to or need to focus on. Your phone rings. Habits. A lot of bad or unhelpful habits have started to slip in because our routine has been distracted, has changed since March. Maybe you weren't doing any exercise like David was talking about earlier. Maybe you find that you're spending hours and hours at your desk when really you'd have been getting up and moving around and talking to people and having all that kind of interaction that maybe you're not getting so much now. And if you put all of that in place, imagine all of that happening on a constant day-by-day thing, how are your goals doing? Maybe that contract that you wanted maybe is further away, or maybe it's just slipped away. Maybe the promotion you were working for has also diminished. Maybe that's slipped away. Maybe something else that you really wanted. Because the boundaries have slipped, the focus has slipped, the bad habits or the unhelpful habits have crept in. Now, wipe all that away and let's change that. Just imagine yourself now going through your day. You have those boundaries in place. You come in and you sit at your dining room table, if you're at a dining room table, your desk, your new office, in effect. You've left your phones in another room so they can't distract you. You've put hold on your emails so they are held back. You are focusing in completely, using all your attention on that thing that you need to do because you've put those boundaries in place. You're working, you're doing really, really well. You're focusing in on what needs to be done to achieve this. You've also set yourself a little reward, if you like, a carrot. Once I have focused on and got this done, then I can have that. I can go and do this. You're working really well. You're really achieving lots. You've just got that contract. You've just got that new promotion. You've achieved massive amounts. You feel fantastic because you've focused. You've put those boundaries in place and you've focused. Those habits, the activity, maybe you wanted to go start running again if you were running before, for example. You've set your clothes out the night before so that when you get up in the morning, you put those clothes on. Your shoes are at the bottom of the stairs, that when you get down the stairs, you put your shoes on. You go out and do that walk, that run, whatever it is that you wanted to do. You feel energized and amazing, ready to start the day when you walk back in through the door. All because you set those little things in place. How fantastic does that feel? You know, you're using your imagination now to put your sat nav on go, to set it going. Because you remember, habits have triggers. They have three components. They have a trigger, an action, and a reward. You're putting boundaries in place. So you're setting those triggers, those things that will trigger those different things off to happen. You're taking action with focus. You've put the right boundaries in place so that you can take the focused action. And then you can have that goal, that reward at the end by putting all those good habits into place and helping yourself. And just remember, at the end of the day, you're going to close all that loop off by closing down that boundary, by leaving work at work. When it comes to that time, and quite often we used to just, at the end of the day, if we were in the office, we would close our laptops down, we'd put our coats on, handbags if you've got a handbag, and we'd be out of the door. Work would be left there. With working from home, the boundaries are very blurred, as I said before. So how you can do that now is you can close your laptop down. If you're working from a dining room table, for instance, and you need that, you move everything to one side and spend a moment just mentally taking off that work mental jacket and parking it with your work computer and everything else that represents work. When you step back, open your eyes, move away from that space, you are back into home mode, you at home, so that your mind can mentally relax, have that break, you can calm down and relax and just chill, ready then in the morning, the next day, feeling refreshed, so you're still getting those breaks. So I hope you have found those tips useful. It is a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but my other tip is to just spend a couple of moments, a couple of minutes every morning before you start work, just running through that scenario, seeing your great day going. You've got your boundaries, you've got your focus, you've left distractions behind, you've got that new habit creeping in, you're going out, doing whatever it is you want, but slip in a trigger to that new habit at the beginning so that you can then do that. So I hope you found that useful. I'm now going to pass you over to Nick, who's going to sum up the webinar. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Helen. Just set me on there. So, okay, so we have online programs, we have audio downloads, we have physical exercise programs, and we have e-learning platforms. We can also work with half-day workshops, and we can work one-to-one. That Australian study, you would probably have guessed that the things that that are crucial in designing effective workplace interventions are things like management support and high visibility. But the third one, it was about where employees feel involved in designing the actual program, they then have high engagement. And the really nice thing about why the three of us have come together is because we offer 6 main areas, and we offer all of them online only. We can offer groups and workshops, and we can offer one-to-ones. There's actually 18 separate services that we can offer to a company, and they can, you know, they might say, well, I'll do the physical online stuff with David. We'll have some one-to-one with focusing on stress and anxiety and so on. So we've got a very flexible offering which employees can be involved in designing to help it be successful for them and the company. So we've got about a minute for any questions and answers. We'll email you the replay. This is being recorded. What we would really like is that the survey that we referred to earlier, if you, in your contacts of your company, if you want to take part in that, and we'll keep updating you with the latest results, because certainly with lethargy and pain, that was quite a surprising one for us. So it's just one word questionnaire, and then employees tick the ones that apply to them. So we'll email you the details for that as well. And today or tomorrow, myself, David, or Helen will be in touch with you to discuss how we can help you or your company. Very